Hello everyone, and welcome to another meetup at Romania Power BI and Modern Excel user group. This is the first session of the month, just a few days away from our last session in September, last Thursday actually, when we had three meetups of the month. It was the first month where we had actually three meetups. I'm saying this is the first of the month, as we'll have one more in Romanian with Ioana Boariu towards the end of October, and I will give you more details on this a little bit later. Thank you all for joining this 37th meetup of ROPAG, and thank you for spending your time here learning together with us when you could do anything else. Welcome to another session presented by a very, very special guest, Maria Bisbe York. Thank you, Maria, for accepting our invitation. And let me tell you, I'm really, really happy that you are presenting to ROPAG after I learned so much from you. This is a special meetup for one additional reason. Our user group just passed these days 1,500 members, which means that we are more and more willing to learn together and share knowledge with each other. For our newest members, my name is Cristian Angel, and together with another Cristian Prifti, we will be your host today. Feel free to connect with us on LinkedIn and stay up to date with future meetups and different other topics related to Power BI and data in general. We'll go quickly through our usually introductory slides presenting our next scheduled meetups. Then Ana Maria will take the stage for her session. A short Q&A at the end, just before ROPAG monthly raffle with prizes from Enterprise DNA, our primary official sponsor. More on this a bit later. In terms of organization, during the session, we have the same old house rules. Please mute your microphone during the session itself when Ana Maria is presenting. Please type your questions or comments in the chat area. Use a queue in front of the questions so we can spot them easier. And if you have any problem with the internet connection, please drop off and join again. One note for everyone, this meetup is recorded, and for whoever doesn't want to appear on our YouTube channel afterwards, this is the moment to log off and wait for the recording. As I said, this is the first meetup of the month. We will have another one in Romanian on the 25th of October with Ioana Boariu. She will be presenting a session on integration between Power BI and PowerShell. It will be an amazing session. I've seen some of her previous sessions. I've seen some articles, and even if you don't speak Romanian, just like we were talking earlier, it might be really useful for everyone to watch the session and come and see it live. The next meetup in Romanian will be on 16th of November. We don't have all the details yet, but stay connected. We will provide all the details on our meetup page and on LinkedIn as soon as we confirm everything. And then at the end of November, we have a really great session with Kurt Buehler. Not all the details are set, but I'm pretty sure anything Kurt is presenting will be just wow. It's so many topics that we can choose of, so don't miss none of our future meetups. For whoever wants to see our past meetups, please go to our YouTube channel, accessing bit.ly/ropag_history. You will see all our past meetups, and this is the place where this recording will go during the weekend, probably. I just said about the raffle. We've just celebrated in August 2 years of partnership with Enterprise DNA, which became our main primary official sponsor 2 years ago in August, offering every month 2 free licenses for 1 year on their platform. So until now, we have more than 70 people, 70 licenses assigned to different members. And I'm really proud to say that we were the first user group in the world having this. So we are continuing our partnership with Enterprise DNA, and this meetup we will assign again 2 licenses with a raffle at the end of our meetup. In order to participate in the raffle, please scan the QR code or check the URLs on the screen. Don't worry if you don't have time to scan it or get the URLs. I will paste them in the chat area during the session itself. And thank you all for filling the form, even if you don't want to participate in the raffle, as this will help us improve our future meetups. Coming back to the session today with Ana Maria. Thank you again, Ana Maria, for taking the time to come and present to our user group. It's an honor for us to have you here presenting at ROPAG, and I'm really, really happy that this is finally happening. For who doesn't know Ana Maria, she's a seasoned data professional having a very rich background in both training and a wide array of projects. Her technological proficiency covers tools like Visual Fox Pro, Microsoft SQL Server. I just learned SSIS, Excel, all kind of things, and especially Power BI in the end. Outside her professional endeavors, Ana Maria is deeply embedded in the data community. She, as far as I know, she's the organizer of Madrid user group, Power BI user group. And she actively participates in other user groups just like this one and related meetups, even maintaining a personal blog to share her insights. Her expertise is frequently sought after, leading her to speak at major events organized by Microsoft España, PASS Summit, and dynamic communities across Spain and other European countries. For her contribution to the community, she's been recognized as a Microsoft Data Platform MVP since a few years now, I think. So ever since I've seen your first thing, you are an MVP already. So everything I've learned, you are already an MVP. So, and I'm learning since a few years already. A few words about you, Ana Maria, and the stage is yours.
Oh, thank you. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm very happy for being here today, ready to talk about the tabular model, about the combining queries. I'm Ana Maria Bisbe. I'm BI trainer and consultant, Microsoft partner in Power BI. I'm LinkedIn Learning trainer in Spanish. I'm data platform MVP, as you said, and also an author of 2 books in Spanish about Power BI and the recent book about Power Query. This book is not ready. He's typing now the book. Now it's time for waiting the result. Okay,
looking forward to check it out.
Yes, it will be on October 26th. So we will need to wait for several days. So I win the Global Award Techfluencer Spain. This is an award for visibility of women in technology. For me, it's really important. We are working very hard for showing the talent of female technical people in our world. So I'm very happy, and I'm a co-leader of Power Platform Madrid Meetup. So as you said, okay, there is my the information, my social network. So let's start. Okay, we will see today the importance of query combining. So we will look at different samples when it's really important to take advantage of combining queries. But first, we will look at when it's not a query combination, the step that merge two queries, because we have a different actions and there's not a combination, but it looks like a combination. And then we will see scenarios of combining queries. For example, to identify entities and attributes. This is really important for tabular modeling, and to take care of the design of the fact table. The fact table, it's the most important table in our model, and we need to look very careful to the design of this table. And to solve data quality issues. And let's see. Okay, data comes from different sources. The structure of the data could be the same, could be different. So we need to look at the data and to realize which is the case. The most important task in the step is to reshape the data for tabular models. So we need to think about, okay, this is the data I got, but I need to create the structure, to create the attributes for this entity, and I need to do thinking about the model. And the data quality and business requirements, especially business requirements, will create the necessity of query combination. Okay, let's see. For example, when is a step not a combination? The first case is when we duplicate queries. When we duplicate queries, we have the first query, for example, here we have product, and if we create a duplicate from product, we have two not related queries. They are identical, and then probably we will start doing different actions for the two queries. But the idea is that for the first one and for the second, we will have the same steps. All the steps are the same, but we will not have the relationship, the connection, or a dependency between the two. Another case is, for example, if we have a reference. If we reference queries, in this case, we have the original query, for example, and the reference one. And here we have a connection, we have a dependency between the two. That means the first query is the most important, and then we will start doing actions, starting just in the ending point of the first one. So in this case, we have all the steps for the first one and just one step for the second, for the referenced query, because this step source is just the name for the first one, okay? And then also we have the situation when we need to combine, but just doing a Cartesian product, not using combination, not merging, not happening. Okay, two queries, probably not related. For example, priority and colors. If we create a custom column, for example, if we are using colors, and if we create a custom column, just looking at the name of the other table, using this approach, we will obtain the combination of the two. This is the Cartesian product between colors and priority. Because we have two columns not related, there is not index, there is not and logical way for combining this. And it's important to create this kind of dimensions because there is a lot of situations where a miscellaneous dimension is the solution for our tabular model. So this approach is very useful. It's clean. It's good for our model, and it's good solution for the problem we have at the beginning to not related queries. Okay, let's see the demo. I have two samples here, the start and the end. If anyone wants to see more deeply or more slowly the solutions, I could send you, Christian, and forever. For me, it's okay to distribute the solution. I have the solution, you know, the demo point in the session. So, for example, here we are in the Power Query. If we look at the Control, Shift, and plus, we are able to increase the size of the text, and this is very useful. Okay, we have here a product query. We are able to duplicate. Here we can duplicate, and we can also reference. If we duplicate, we will see all the steps, and if we reference just the source, and the source, it's just the name of the original query. So it's not a combination, but it's a good solution for doing a lot of tasks independency of the first query and the other. Okay. Cartesian products, I will show you, for example, colors and priority. It's really easy. Okay, add column, add custom column. And for example, we could see column priority, column P, for example. And here we just need to look at the test for the name of the second query. That's all. Priority, and that's all. Okay. And now we have a table. Expand using the columns, and now we have all the values. Okay, so it's a good solution. I use it a lot. Okay. Let's see another. Oh, my watch is looking for me. Okay, combine queries to identify model entities. It's really important to look at the entities in our model. Look at the attributes and look at the entities. It's really, really important. For example, if we have several sources with the same structure of the columns, for example, we have the same information for January, February, and March. The entity is just one, sales, for example. The entity is just one. The point is just the information I got, it's divided month by month. Okay, that's the original data. In our work, we need to create just one entity, and the solution here is to append rows. So we have all the rows for January, all the rows for February, and all the rows for every month we have. Okay, here, append queries, and all the information will be together. Just one entity. This is really, really important to have just one entity for each object or for each element in our model. In another case, for example, we have several sources, different structure, but same entity again. For example, we have several information about customer. This information was provided by, for example, marketing department, and another information was provided from the production. I don't know, it's different out financial department, and we have different attributes provided by different sources, but the entity is the same. Actually, you can see that customer key is the same. If we look at the entity, the entity again is just one. If we stay like these two tables, the relationship will be one-to-one. This is a bad solution for our model. We need to avoid as much as possible the relationship one-to-one between the tables. Okay. So in this case, the idea will be merge using the customer key column, and then when we merge, we maintain the structure for the first table and add the columns that we need from the second one. Okay. And also another case. It's important as much as possible, again, to avoid a snowflake schema. Why? Because if we need, if we look at the model, in this case, for example, we have the entity, the customer's entity, and we have here two columns, but these two columns are attributes of customers. Okay, so we need to add these two columns to customer because they have the same function as, for example, education, gender, marital status, and so on. Okay, and if we do this thing, we can avoid this relationship, and probably we can avoid this table. And also we can avoid these two columns, geography key from geography list and geography key from customer. If we start looking at the model using, for example, the Studio Tabular editor, we will see the influence of any columns in our model. So it's important to avoid this situation. If we merge columns, it's like a VLOOKUP. In this case, it's like a big VLOOKUP because we want to add these two columns to the customer. And in this case, now we will have the star schema because all the information for this dimension is in just one table, and this table probably and hopefully will be related to the fact table. Okay, so we see the demo. Is there any question by now?
No question for now.
Okay. For example, open. Okay, we will see. Okay. New source, Excel, monthly sales. Here we have our January, February, and March information. Okay, we have 3. And then it's important to disable the data loading because all the data we will load in the last query. So we will open queries, append queries as new, append queries as new, and 3 or more tables. January, I will see what is January, March, and we could, okay, January, February, and March. That's okay. And now we have all the information all together. We are combining, we are appending all the data. Okay. Another approach, if you are using data that we do not need to make any change, for example, in this case, if I need to fix it, February, or I need to do some transformation on January, if you need some steps previous, it's important to have all the queries before the combination. But probably data is clean. For sure, your data is as clean as mine. Here we have recent sources, okay? And here there is an option that's transform data. If we are looking at all the information from our Excel file, we could just transform data, okay? This is very good because here we have just the first step. The first step is the connection. Here we have the connection of our data. And here we have all the information for every, in this case, here we have this object. Excel have a sheet or tables or other. So now we will rid of the rest of columns, remove other columns, and now we will have all the information. But if we are using tables, in this case, we will have the promote the information because we have already. But if we are looking at the not at the tables at the list in our Excel file, this is the result of the combination. We could filter and we could do a lot of things here. But there is a solution if we are, for example, I will repeat very quickly, recent source, monthly sell, because there is a solution, transform data, and here, this parameter, no, this parameter here is very, it is like a surprise because use header is hidden. It's null. And if we set true in this case and rid of the rest of columns and expand, voila, it's perfect. So it's just a point. If you do not need to take any action in your data, okay, let's look at the file, look at the metadata of our Excel file, and then if there you are not using tables, you could do this kind of trick through for hidden, and that's all. Okay.
I'm using it. almost by default to true. Every time I'm getting data from Excel, I'm almost always using it as true. And only if I don't need it, I take it out. But otherwise, it's by default, it's on true.
Yeah, it's awful. Okay, so customer A, customer B, okay, just merge queries. For example, merge queries customer A and take the columns from customer B and customer A, customer B, customer key. Here we have a lot of join types or key. It's important to look at this because depending on the situation, we need to use one on another type. Okay, in this case, it's enough. Customer key for both. We have a good selection, a good combination here. That's okay. For example, okay, let's select, for example, not geography key. And as or not customer key also. Not customer key. Okay, for example. And we have incomes, education, occupation, so the rest of the columns from the another table. And the other case is from Snowflake to Star Schema. In this case, we have customers, customer key, geography key. For example, we have customer key, geography, name, last name, birthday. Okay, that's all the information, but we do not have any information about city and country. City and country are two attributes in another table. So we need to combine these two original tables in one and to take these two columns and to add them to the customer table. Okay, let's do it. Merge queries, customer and customer and geography list. Okay, geography key. Okay, in this case, we need all the time to select the tables or the queries, then the columns, and then the condition. In this case, the condition is the same, so it's okay. And now we will have here our country and city. And for this case, it's important to read off the geography key columns. Look at the columns. Look at all the elements we have in our tabular model because it's important to read off the all the columns that we do not need for our model. In this case, for example, remove. Okay, that's all.
Ana Maria, there was a question earlier on the previous example. Okay. Is there a way to combine the three worksheets without expanding and hard-coding the column names?
This is the way to, if we, in this case, no, in this, okay, if we have an Excel file, we need to combine three Excel sheets. And if we do not need any transformation, we just look at the metadata and to combine them. I don't know if I understand the question, but when merging tables, we should know if the second table has unique values or otherwise. Yes, for sure. Yes, for sure, Michael. And it's important to take care about the duplicates values. There is a lot of transformation looking at the quality of the data. For example, I just to read off from remove the geography key column from the customer. This is an action. Another action will be, for sure, look at the duplicates. Because you are right, if we have duplicates values in our, for example, customer key column, this is very bad for our model because this is the column that we have in our one extreme of the relationship, the one endpoint, and the values should be unique. Yes, for sure. We could avoid her column, but the spam. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thanks for the question. Okay. Let's see another examples. For example, we need to take care about the fact table. Look at this table. We have in our table, we have product and country. In our fact table, there's two text columns. Text columns are really, really bad for the model when they are including in our fact table. There's a lot of reasons, but the most important is the size of the column. If we have a numeric column and we have a text column, even if the both columns have the same values, there is it's a big difference between the size inside the model. Okay, so we need to avoid as much as possible text columns in our fact tables. So here we have product and country, and we could have or not another table, okay, with the product and country. We could have or not an index here. It depends on the situation. The first step here could be rid of the duplicates. For example, this is a good example. Okay, let's see. In this case, rid off of the duplicates and then add an index columns for the combination. Here, for example, we have an index column for the combination of the two. Columns 2, 3, depending on the case. And then merge queries. But in this case, we will merge queries taking 2 or more columns. This is a good solution, but the only point we need to take care here is that if we are looking at the product as the first column here, we need to look at the product as a first column. This number, the number, the order depending on you, but it's important to maintain the same order for this combination. That means we do not need to create an additional column, a combined column for each queries. We could combine using the original columns, but just taking in account the order. That's all we need. Join by more than one columns and then cleansing. Okay, merge queries. There is a very, very good solution if, for example, thinking about this point, we have, for example, products. This is sale. We have a catalog of our products, and we have this requirement. I need to know if our product is a new product or it's an historical one. And we need to know if this product it's good for us because we are selling a lot, of it's a not so good product because there is not too much sales. If the requirements do not depend on the filter contents, and I'm speaking about tags, okay? If the product will be recent or historical, depending just of the historical sales, we can do this approach. And this approach is to combine queries and then aggregate. You know, here we have expand. This is the most used option, but also we have another one is aggregate. Okay, and in this case, we can, for example, find the quantity of how much operations or how much sales we have, how much rows, how much quantity, sum of quantity, minimum of data, of date. For example, there's a lot of solutions. And as a result, we will have these columns. These columns are not good for the model. These two are not good, but if we start looking at these columns, for example, we are able to create a conditional column. And for example, we could say that these two are good sales products. And for example, it's good, and this is medium, and this is poor, for example. And depending on the condition that we create, the result will be a column with just 3 values: good, medium, and bad. Or historical, recent, or new products, for example. So these columns is bad for the model because a lot of different values. So the cardinality of the columns will be very high. So these columns we need to rid of. But the approach to from the original data to the new attributes from our catalog, it's really good. Yeah. Okay. I think that. And the last one is when we use a combination for avoid the data quality issues. For example, if we have inconsistency of the data, we have here two tables. Here we have a project table, and this is a catalog dimension, and we have our fact table. In this case, it's easy to look from 1 to 5, from 1 to 5. And here we are able to see from 1 to 5, so it's okay. This year is okay, but where is the difference? Here we have 2 projects. This is from a real project. Okay, I found that there is 2 projects that do not have any data in a fact table. It's not sexy, but it's not a problem, because you could have a product that there's not sales, or customer that is not, he is not buying for this period of time, etc. The real problem we have here, because we have this number and there is a big inconsistency, because we have information, fact information from a project that isn't in our catalog.
So we have a data in the fact table, but it's not present in the dimension table.
Exactly. We have orphan data. This is a problem in our model. It's a problem by design, because when we will use we will relate the two tables in our query in our report. In our report, we will see blank information, and it's because of this, because we have information in our fact table that is not related with the dimension table. So it's really important. So the solution here is, of course, to combine queries, but using the anti-left or anti-right join. So the anti-condition is the solution for taking just, in this case, for example, we have just these two, and the cells tables here are empty because we have no information. There's not matching rows in the second one. So it's really interesting. It's very easy to find the problems, the data quality issues here. Okay. Okay, let's see the demo. Okay. Let's see the demo. Okay, merge and aggregate. Okay, products for sales, for products. Okay, and then sales fact table here. We could combine the products. We could combine the products. Okay, and merge queries. Merge queries. For example, product with sales products. Sales products. Okay, products and sell products. Okay. ID, and it's okay, left. Okay, and now this is the difference. Instead of expand, we will aggregate. Okay, for example, count of date. I prefer, for example, minimum of date. And this is the first date when these products was sold. Okay, then sum of ID product, not sum of ID product, and in this case, for example, count not blank. Okay, and for example, sum of quantities is good. Using these three columns, we will have a lot of different values. So the cardinality for these three columns will be very bad for the model, okay? These three columns are not good for the model, but the solution here will be, okay, I will sum of ID product. I do not need sum of ID product.
No, it was the original name. This is why it remained like this.
Okay.
So the default aggregation was sum, and it hard-coded it in the formula bar.
So let's detect data type. Okay, data type is okay. And now, for example, we are able to let's create additional column. Conditional columns. For example, okay, let's see quantity, for example, easy. conditional column, status, for example. And if we said if quantity it's greater than 2, for example, good. And if quantity greater than 1, greater or equal to 3, greater or equal to 2, for example, medium or poor, bad. Okay, in this case, we will have just 3 values. If we have a million rows with millions of different combinations here in this column quantity, in any case, we will have 3 values here. These will be a good attributes for our model. So this is the solution, and then we are able to rid of these temporary columns that we are using for obtaining the real attributes for our dimension. Okay. And for example, if we have the catalog and the catalog cells, we want to avoid these 2 columns from here. By first, it's important to select all the columns and to check the duplicates. So let's remove duplicates. This is even in case we have no duplicates now in the first approach to the data. Do it all the time, all the times, because tomorrow is tomorrow. The data will be different, so it's yeah, for sure. Yeah. So then add columns, add an index column, for example, from 0, from 1. And here we have all the values are different, and this is good because this column will be the primary key that we will use to create the relationship between our catalog and the fact tables. But this is also a good column because there's a numeric one, and also the values are continuous, so they will have a very, very, very good compact size in our tabular model. So this is really, really good column for the model. Okay, we have this column, and now we need to add the index to the fact table. In this case, we will combine, merge queries. In this case, I will merge queries as new just for using it. And in this case, for example, we have catalog cells, and we have catalog, and the point here is to take the product, control, and country, 1 and 2, and then product and country. Okay, so as much as columns that we need to combine, that's okay. And now we have in the here in our column, we need to expand and just take index, just index. And now, as we can see, the value for the column, we could repeat. It's okay because we are selling again and again the combination of the 2, of the products and the country. Okay. So, okay. So in this case, the last action will be rid of these columns. We could just remove or choose columns and unselect product and country, and that's all. And now we have a beautiful fact table with a date column that is numeric, a quantity column, columns, and index columns. They are both numerics, so it's great.
Long and skinny.
Mhm. And the last one, project and project sales. Okay, let's see. For example, merge queries as new, projects and project sales, in this case, ID project, and just change the condition. Left anti, right anti, depending on the case, and the selection excludes 8 from 10 because 8 are good. So we have 2 cases that are not good. We have here the result, and that's if we expand. Yes, if we expand, they are null for sure because there is not information about the project. So there's a lot of
data appears only in the fact table, and then we should append it to the dimension table, right?
Exactly. We need to create, for example, a new project in our dimension table, and to fill it depending on the case, probably other or unknown or whatever. But it's important not to leave the data unrelated because it's very bad for the report. So that's it. So combining queries could be the perfect solution for the construction of the optimal tabular model, identifying entities and attributes, respecting the data, the star model design, for the protection of the fact tables and in our model, to do data quality tags, to combine in files, etc., etc. Here is several books written in English from Reza and Leila, from another authors, Chris Webb. This was the first book I was, and Ken Pulse and Miguel Escobar also. And that's all.
Well, thank you, Ana Maria. It was a great session, and I had a question regarding the size of the model when you are replacing the text inside the data model with IDs. Because we know that for Power BI, a data model of 1 million or 10 million rows, it's not that much and it can be forgiving. For 100 million, yes, that there is for sure a big impact. But is there a best practice size of a data model? When would you recommend to replace everything, or would you do it all the time?
Replace it, please. Replace it, because for each million of rows, if you do not have millions of rows, the problem is not so big. But if we have 10 millions of rows, 10 times will we storage the same data in our model, and text columns are very, very heavy in the model. So the probably, I don't know, there is a session in I'm delivering very frequently in Spanish, that there is a how to create metrics using DAX Studio and Tabular Editor from our model, just looking at the model, and deciding, oh, this column is a bad column, this another column is a bad. And if we have, for example, plain table, just one table in our model. If we have 10 millions of rows, we need 10 segments for allocating the same information. So the same big, the same but design 10 times. So it's really, really bad for our model. But
your recommendation is to replace it all the time.
Yes, I'm trying to find the solution. For example, if we have a primary key that we take from the original value, you know, these primary keys that are awful, they're not pretty at all because there is a lot of text and numbers and it's a unique value. It's awful. And doing as much as possible task as I can, depending on the case, of course, for replacing it for numbers and for this kind of index columns from 1 to 3, because the data is more compact and the dictionary is really, really more efficient than from text columns. So it's really interesting to look at the model, to take to look at the size of columns, to look at the dictionary that it's that the engine creates inside the columns, and it's real interesting to take decisions looking at the models. Yeah, text columns for a model when we have more than 1 million are bad.
Okay, thank you. There are 3 more questions from Ciprian in the chat, and I see that Adam and the others are already answering. And thank you, Adam, for Pavel, Adam. Thank you for answering. The first one is, in a sequence of interdependent queries, how does Power Query handle the update order of values? Is it same as Excel's dirty cell algorithm?
Oh, I didn't understand. Where is the question?
In the chat without a Q from Ciprian Stoyan.
In the sequence of interdependent, how does handle the you know, the idea is, for example, if we have the updated values, the index columns will be updated because the index columns is created as a new step. So when we deploy or when we load the data to our model or doing the refresh of the data, all the steps are taking one before another. So if you have a new information, we will have, for example, a new combinations between products and countries, and the index value will be a new one for you and for the final customer. The value of the index has not any importance, exactly, because the only function of these values is to create the bridge between the fact table and the dimension table. So all the steps are running again and again, and if we have new values, the new values will create a new index values and new connections with the fact table. So it's a good approach because it's sustainable.
True. And there was another one from Ciprian. Can it somehow be set to wait for all previous queries to complete before starting to update the current one?
I love this question because when when in our past we designed using SQL Server integration services, we were able to define the order, but here no. No, if you have a query and, for example, if you reference to the second one will take the information from the first one. So the first one will be deployed first. But if you duplicate, it's two different. Or if you have, for example, geography and dates or customer, we are not able to decide which will be first. Yes, it's a good question. Yes, from SSIS.
One more.
Yeah.
Yeah, SSIS, you had full control over the steps and the order.
Exactly, I love
But
it.
here with the lazy
Yes,
evaluation,
exactly.
you don't
Yeah.
even know exactly how the queries and are ordered. And as far as I know, Power Query is single-threaded, so they will perform in their own order depending on the overall evaluation.
Yes.
And number 3, yeah,
where is the external source and several replication of the original? On that, this is possible to for single reading of the external data source. I think it's the same. If you are looking several times are the same external data source, Power Query is looking several times to the external source. The only that you can do is by first create the connection and then do all the tasks. So the query will be just query for connection, then queries for transformation, and at the end, queries for loading, for example. Queries, the final queries for your models. But no, we are not able to define the
order and everything.
Yeah.
Well, there is no additional question, and I want to thank Pavel, Adam, and Donald for sharing answers and the links and everything in the chat. Thank you, Christy, also for helping answering some of the questions or comments or put some ideas.
It's a question about this book. About this book. I forgot to add.
Donald pasted the link.
Yes.
Yeah, this is another very good one.
Really good book. Yes, I forgot from Jill Raviv. I forgot, sorry, in the PowerPoint, but yes, this is a really good book.
Donald just shared the link, and thank you for all your help. We'll go for a few minutes for the Enterprise DNA raffle and come back to wrap up. And whoever wants to stay after I stop the recording, feel free to remain for a few more minutes for chat. We will open the videos and the cameras and all. So let's go quickly to the Enterprise DNA raffle. I hope my screen is visible. Yeah, it should be visible. Yeah, how we are doing the raffle. We are collecting the data, both the feedback, the normal feedback, and the participation in the raffle with a Microsoft form. I have a Power Automate getting the data from the form and writing it to a SharePoint list. And then I'm connecting with a Power BI report to that SharePoint list. I used to have Power Apps inside to do the randomizing everything, but I found some bugs and I choose to use a different external tool for randomizing and getting the winners. So here, as I told you at the beginning, our Romania Power BI user group is pretty international tonight. So we have data from, we have attendees from Malaysia, from the Czech Republic, from Denmark, from UK, from Brazil, US, and Canada. We had 13 answers to the form and 11 participants in the raffle. And in order to get the names of the participants, plus Sweden. Yeah, Anna says plus Sweden. So next time, please fill up the form and Sweden will show on the map. In order to get the names, I'm using, of course, Power Query. Exactly as you said, this is what I'm doing normally. I have a raw data connection level only to the connection to the SharePoint. I have some staging queries and the data model, plus this query that I'm using now to get the names for all the participants. Let's refresh everything. We have 12 participants in the raffle. So let me get the names, copy. We should also have here 12 now, and use the one thing that I'm using, the wheel of names. Let me delete this and shuffle the names. And drum roll, please, for the first winner. Adi Christia from UK. Congrats, you are the first winner. Really cool. And now shuffle the names again with the remaining names. And let's spin it for the second winner. Andrei from Romania. Congrats, you are the second winner. I will contact you both after the meetup to confirm your email addresses so I can write them in the Enterprise DNA database. Thank you all for joining, and thank you, Ana Maria, again for taking the time to come and present to us. It was a great session with lots of learnings, and I'm sure that others will do just like I did, will follow you and watch your sessions even in Spanish, because we are learning so much just by seeing it, even if we don't speak Spanish. Thank you again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all for joining, and see you in a few weeks for the next meetup in Romanian. And I will stop the recording now, and whoever wants to stay a few more minutes to chat, feel free. We are still here.